just a hack. He's just an absolute hack. And he gets his ass kicked by his teammates every week. It's just, it's terrible. It's just terrible.
Welcome back to Hack City. Joe DeLeone and Sean Anderson, two former college football players from the University of Rhode Island. We are here very leaned back after a long Sunday. I traveled the entire beginning of the day. Sean just was Sean. We're here to recap FCS football week 9, which featured a crazy outcome for Idaho versus Montana State in South Dakota State, completely bludgeoning to death the University of South Dakota. We've also got some takeaways for some other top teams that lost. Shocking. Everyone is losing their goddamn minds in the comments of my ballot. Not at me somehow. They're all arguing with each other, which I think is an accomplishment that I've reached that level of controversial that people debate one another in my... Kyler's going ham right now. Kyler's just going at everyone, and I love it. I love it when Kyler does it. Sean, before we get to this, can you share with our listeners where they can make some money at BetOnline?
Yeah, I'd like to. How come Craig was giving me some flack for posting? I post mine on like a little later in the week, so I let you take all the heat. And then Jamie's like, "Hey, it's a pretty good strategy." So all the vitriol is launched at Joe, and I could just have my nice little ballot and just hanging out basically.
By the way, the FCS fans are not going to rattle me because what I get on my FBS show does not even come close to what some of the FCS fans try to throw at me. But yeah, whatever you were saying.
Let's talk about betting. Let's talk about right now. What's taking place right now, Joe, as we are taping Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football. Way to be, Sean. Got some action out there. Need Keenan Allen to score a touchdown. Need Dante Foreman to score a touchdown. Got some.
I need 8 receptions for
stuff
Keenan
going
Allen.
on. 8.
Yeah, over 7.5.
That's ballsy. All right. Well, Joe is feeling himself, and he took the.
He's got 3 already.
Well, I hope it wins for you. Regardless, if you want.
That was one of those bets I accidentally placed it twice, by the way, so I really needed to hit.
If you want to get in on the action, have funny discourse and banter like me and DeLeone right here. See, I'm calling him DeLeone because we're nice and comfortable with each other.
Oh.
Head to BetOnline today and get in on the action. Hey, Joey D, would you pipe down while I'm doing my read?
Finish the read.
Don't forget to use promo code BLEAV. That's BLEAV to receive 50% of your welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Forget how much the wheels come off whenever we record as late as possible. All right, box score takeaways from week 9, Sean. And as we remember from last week, we're now going to name every single game. So the pat on the head game of the week. Montana, they beat Northern Colorado 40-0. Good job, guys. Good offensive production. So we're just bringing this up because this isn't kind of a meaningless win. It's a win that you would hope would be the outcome here. They get their pat on the head because they get mad when we don't talk about them. So the Grizz, here you guys go. You got your win. 40-0. It's a lot of points.
It's pretty good. Nice little pat on the head for him. That's fair.
Oh,
maybe I'll shut him up for another week.
Oh, no, it won't. Do you have any other thoughts on that?
I just can't wait to hear what Guide Life has to say. Oh, if you couldn't tell, I was being sarcastic in the comments. I'm really a funny dude. I'm sure. We can't tell. You say some nasty things.
Right. Yeah. It's, oh, guys, it was sarcasm, but go fuck yourself.
No.
I bet Sean's never had sex before, but that's sarcasm, though, guys.
Our reactions should be able to show you we're not getting it. Your brand of humor, we're not on the same page.
I don't think anyone's getting it. The reality is a bitch score of the week, game of the week. Western Carolina loses to Mercer 45-38. Injuries are starting to catch up with these guys. Defensively, there's some weaknesses that have been clearly shown. I think that they make the playoff, but they will not be seeded at this point.
Yeah, Western Carolina, weird game, tough game. Still, I if you have I had to leave Cole Gonzalez off the list because he had 3 picks, which hurts.
Ugh.
That hurts. Their losses have come from turnover problems, but he still had 388 yards and 5 touchdowns. So I was close. So please don't. We're not at that segment yet. But
I'm sorry.
I think he might be a dude. He really might be a dude if he's still throwing the ball like that. Going to give him some life, going to give him some hope. But still, reality's tough.
Those guys have family score of the week. SIU beats the piss out of Western Illinois 63-0. What y'all should have, when .35 hit the board and they clearly weren't trying, take a knee every down. We sat through a game where that happened when JMU put 80 on us, and it was disrespectful for them to start kneeling in the third quarter. Kneel at halftime.
You forget, it wasn't 80, it was 84. And we had 7 points. And I had 5 family members and my girlfriend in the stands. For the first game I think I dressed in college football. They were generous enough to fly me down there for that spanking in front of all my loved ones.
That's one where your parents disown you and your girlfriend breaks up with you, even though you didn't play in the game.
I think my granddad, he had a line that just sucked the air out of my chest. He's like, boy, and it wasn't even mean. It just hit like a granddad phrase does. He's like, boy, it just wasn't your day today, was it? I'm like, no, granddad, it wasn't. It's just.
By the way, we did get another text from Kevin. Kevin texted in the granddad chat again. He texted again. He texted after the game. We heard from him again. We still don't know who he is. All right, do you have any thoughts on the
fantastic saga?
Do you have any other thoughts on SIU?
What am I supposed to say about this? It's these guys have families. It's a huge game for SIU, who has put together a pretty solid season and a team that has fluttered a little bit up and down, at least on my polls, but they can catch it, and Nick Baker can compose himself and run that offense like he's supposed to. It's a good team. SIU is a good team. It's not one of those teams you're like, I don't want to play them right now, but it's a good team that's going to put up a fight every game.
Hey, what the hell are you guys doing? Score of the week. UT Martin loses to Gardner-Webb 38-34. Look, I didn't think that UT Martin was going to be like a top 10 team. Their resume's kind of weak, but I thought that they were good enough to like finish at that 12 mark and run the table. They got some good defensive pieces, but Gardner-Webb, man, you guys had it. You guys had it. And you blew it. What the hell are you doing?
I'm not sure. I've never been a huge proponent of Gardner-Webb or their team. I just haven't gotten it. Admittedly, I'm not tuning into a ton of Gardner-Webb games. I'm not. And I'll own that. What the hell is going on, UT Martin? You guys are putting together a pretty solid resume. Competing hard. It's late October. These are the games you need to win to carry yourself into November. Now it's going to get cold. And the practices are going to hurt more. And the games are going to matter more. So let's see where they go from here, I guess.
Why were they ranked in the first place score of the week? Central Arkansas loses to Tarleton.
No. Central Arkansas is fine. I don't agree with this game title.
25-23. I didn't rank them because
you ranked Tarleton.
Ranked. No, I didn't. I never ranked Tarleton.
Didn't you have them at 25?
Oh no, that's Tennessee State. Tennessee State's good.
Better. That's better. I know. Tennessee State has a fat stats coming up.
Kark sucks. Kark
Kark has been good. They've had a good season. I
haven't beaten anyone.
I've continuously. I think I might have been the highest, and I dropped them. I dropped them heavy. I'm not taking them off. I dropped them heavy.
They can't keep getting away with the score of the week. UC Davis loses to Northern Arizona. Northern Arizona is the Utah of the Big Sky. They stink. But you know what? They play a ranked team. They turn into the University of Georgia. Dude. They just blow past everyone. Where was this?
Here, you know what I had to do, which was super embarrassing? After this, I actually looked up Northern Arizona's schedule. I'm like, do I need to rank them? Because I know they have some crazy-ass wins over some good teams. I'm sitting here like, no, I can't. They're 3-5. I'm counting up the beginning of the year. They started 0-4.
They lost to Northern Colorado.
This is what I was doing. I was doing this.
They lost to Northern Colorado, North Dakota, Utah Tech. They lost to
Yeah.
Utah Tech, and then they
Damning.
also
Damning loss.
almost beat Sac State. They lost to Portland State,
Yeah.
and then they beat it is befuddling. I can't figure them out. All right, Sean. Go ahead.
Briefly. I had something
Yes.
briefly. I might have two brief things. One thing, I'm going to rub it in your face, my Portland State victory, because you said that I was a loser and a dope, and they pulled it out over EWU. So I'm going to ring that bell.
Yeah, apparently the president did line up in the A gap and completely blew up that Eastern Washington offensive line. I spoke too soon.
Second, briefly.
Okay.
I guess, I mean, I can give a brief recap of where I was this weekend. I know you were at an FBS game. I was at an FCS game.
Yeah,
do that
William and
now
Mary
or
still
after?
doesn't. No. Tell us about the William and Mary vibe. What was it like?
William and Mary. It was a good amount of people there. There should have been more. It's just not a football school, which is a bummer because that team plays hard, and that team was down to Monmouth, and Monmouth had all the momentum. William and Mary had a crazy fun win, and it was just an insane ending on a blocked field goal. And their kicker, you'll appreciate this, and I'll talk about Jaden Sheridan in a minute, who's legit. Their kicker, we saw it earlier. He's a tall kicker, and he kicks very flat PATs. Like he's not putting enough air under it. And we're like, that's odd. You know, he had a line drive there. Maybe he just caught it. He caught it like that a couple times, and they're in PAT range for the game tying kick in the fourth quarter. Hits it the same way, flat. Some D lineman gets his big hand up there, knocks it down, game one. So special teams oddity cost Monmouth from their big, tall, lanky kicker who kicked it too flat. But Jaden Sheridan has incredible speed. He was a problem. He is a problem. And I try not to do this when I go to games where when I see them in real life, I try not to get swept up and be like, oh, I'm really watching him now. I'm really seeing him. This guy's legit. Because I'll do that. And the South Dakota State is a bad example because they have some legit dudes. This guy is just different on the field than the other players. And he stands out whenever he touches the ball. And that is an indicator. I mean, there are good players on that field. William Mary has good players. I got to watch Charles Grant a lot. He's good. He still needs in person. Still needs about 15 on his frame.
So lean.
His feet are great. His technique is good. And I'm watching him all game. Like, oh man, he's so close, but he just needs more. Sheridan, unbelievable in person. One of the best running backs I've seen. I've seen a lot of college football games. One of the best I've seen in person.
It's a shame that he's not having that same level of year that he had last year. And you kind of would have expected that to happen where there's been some roster turnover. So for them to be as good, it was going to be difficult. But no, I had fun watching him. I think that he'll get an NFL shot. I think it's realistic. I don't know if he gets drafted because it's
going to be close.
He's got a thin frame, and he's one of those guys when he gets contact, he goes down. You know, he's not going to – you're smaller –
yeah.
When you're a smaller back, you got to be like Bucky Irving, and you got to just like bounce out of contact. He doesn't have the lower half to really do that, but he'll get a camp invite. You know, he might be the like Jalen McLaughlin, who I think Jalen McLaughlin, the Youngstown.
It'll be similar, I think,
on the Broncos.
That tackling, he's not. I expected him to be smaller. He's not that small, but that's not his strength. His size isn't his strength. It's his first cut. And then the burst afterwards, just to get away from whoever else is coming. And we have other games that are way more important to talk to than Mary Monmouth. But it was just a quick analysis of me getting some boots on the ground at an FCS game.
South Dakota State versus South Dakota, 37-3. I made a discovery. I wish more FCS teams did this. I'm sure someone in the comments can be like, well, actually, this is why blah, blah, blah. You shouldn't be doing this, and this is bad for the sport. South Dakota State was live streaming the game through their Twitter. So I was, before the Notre Dame game, we were sitting at one of the bar right outside the stadium, and I was kind of like shuffling through the games and checking them. And I went to go check the score, and I sat and started watching the game on my phone before I went into the stadium, and I actually caught a decent amount of it. When I did watch it, it was really close. It was like 7-3, I think, when I tuned in. And South Dakota State was playing really flat. Really, really flat. South Dakota was putting up a little bit of a fight. And then that second half rolled around. The end of that second quarter rolled around where they went up 14-3. and then they just completely blew the doors off of them. I tweeted this out. The gap that we have right now between South Dakota State and the rest of the teams is freaking massive. And we're going to talk about the Montana State game in a second, but I have not seen an FCS team this dominant in a very long time. This rivals those North Dakota State teams. And that shouldn't be a hot take. I'm sure that irks some people, but they're up there.
I don't think you're far off.
In the history of college football, there has never been a team this experienced with the amount of starters who returned for 6 years. And we're never going to see something like this again because of COVID eligibility. It felt like I was watching like JMU play a random FCS team. And that's the number 4 freaking team in the country. Yeah. That is supposed to be a good football team. It felt like they were flat and dicking around in the first quarter. And they said, all right, guys, let's stop playing around. And they just blew the doors off of them. That's a really good win. That is a freakish win that they pulled out.
They haven't had a cupcake schedule either. They keep playing good teams, and I respect the hell out of it. They play Northern Iowa. They play the best South Dakota team that we've seen in years. They're going to play North Dakota State. They play good teams. So there's no excuse made. There's no, they opened up with Bowling Green, UNLV, Rutgers, and ECU. Right. You can't make that. For the FCS level, they're getting tested consistently, which is, it's proof. It's just proof at this point. And if you're going to deny that, you can try to, but the more you look at it, the more you watch, it's like, well, how much can I drop South Dakota? Because they're playing the juggernaut. You're sitting, right. It's just a question. And I'm not trying to.
The same thing with North Dakota when we talked about him.
Same thing. What do you do? You just got to sit and watch and be impressed, I guess, because they don't miss a beat, and they beat the teams that are going to give them a genuine challenge. South Dakota was hot. They were a hot team, rolling, good offense, good defense, well coached. Went out there, got beat bad. Doesn't happen like that. It just doesn't happen like that often in football. And you can't say they were sleepwalking, because nobody's sleepwalking against South Dakota State. You're always getting South Dakota State's always getting their best. South
Dakota State was sleepwalking against South Dakota and still won 37-3. That's the absurdity of this. The funniest part is you just brought up the schedule thing. It's not like with Georgia where they're just kind of figuring stuff out, coasting through their schedule. They have one of the toughest schedules in the country, and they're accomplishing this. We have absolute proof that they're as good as they are. There is no debate. There is no discussion. And I haven't even really seen any discourse of like, oh, are they as good as you guys are making it out to be? No, they are. I think everyone is agreeing and in awe of what we're observing. Of course, we're going to say this and they're going to go lose to, Slappy University, but they won't. South Dakota State, dude, we just kind of have to sit back, watch, and observe and just be impressed on a week-to-week basis.
I guess. People get tired about hearing about the Chiefs, and I get tired for other reasons, but it's just, this was a huge matchup. It was a huge matchup that we needed to preview. It was a huge matchup because as little of a chance there was, it was as good of a chance that there was that they were to go down.
If you recall, Sean, back a few years ago, North Dakota State received top 25 votes in the AP poll. I think we need to start pushing that agenda. Like in the FBS poll I'm talking about. North Dakota State, I think it was when they beat Iowa, they were brought up in the discussion. I think we need to start doing that with South Dakota State. I think that we need to bring that up. They're better than Liberty. And I said this before, and I got a little pushback, and Jamie didn't agree with it, but JMU's offense is fine.
It'd be a hell of a game. It would be a monster game. Here's something.
Okay, go ahead.
I was pitching my great uncle this weekend because he is just so. My uncle Al is so into sports, college sports, every level, D2, D3, does not matter. He's worked in. He can't be more involved. And he's asked, we're talking about JMU all weekend. And I told him, you know what? I know they're going to file the suit, and I know they're going to try to get a bowl game. If they don't, make your own. Go to Barstool. Go to Bleacher Report. Go to anywhere. It doesn't have to be First. It doesn't have to be Fox, CBS, NBC. It doesn't any of that. Find an outlet that can get cameras, pick an opponent, get someone there, host your own bowl game. The team will be up for it. There will be another team somewhere that'll be up for it. Bring in South Dakota State if you want to. Figure it out.
Well, South Dakota State's not going to play that because they're going to play the playoff.
Yeah. But that's what they should do. They should still have a bowl game. They should almost do the UCF bit where they were crowning themselves national champs. Hey, we're the JMU Bowl champs. Sure, go ahead. Or we have the JMU Bowl. You know what the T-shirt sales would do?
Oh, man.
They would go crazy.
I think JMU, to just troll everyone, they should just rent out their field and they should just run around for an hour and then leave the field just against nobody. They should just go run plays on air.
Awesome also.
Yeah.
I think they should do
not
anything.
a scrimmage.
No. They should
not
do
a team scrimmage.
But, not do something on that field during bowl week.
I think the national championship is at NRG Stadium in Houston. They should find a way that they can get on the field before the national championship and then run all their plays on air, offense, defense, and then get off the field and record the whole thing and then put out the video. That would be a really good idea. Okay, South Dakota State, South Dakota, insane outcome. Montana State, Idaho did not go as expected because this is where my whole mind is just completely effed. And I knew my ballot was not going to be capably created without upsetting everyone. This is the hardest I don't think that the ballot has ever been this difficult. I think that we got thrown into the fire this year.
Last week, just for a season? Yeah,
yes.
This is madness. This is
insane. Because every time that you're like starting to get footing and you're like, oh, Montana State is a hair behind South Dakota State, but they could maybe beat them if they played each other again, and we want to see that matchup. And here comes Idaho, and they pull out one of the most unexpected games ever, where their defense plays at a level that I didn't know that they could play at because they've had some bumpy games so far this year. For what they gave up to Montana, that was concerning. The plays that they gave up to Montana was concerning. And I was a little bit retracting my thoughts on Idaho. I knew that they were seed worthy, but I wasn't willing to go back to the discussion of them being top 3 worthy. But now they're back in the convo. They're even in the convo for being the second best team in the country after they beat Montana State. But the problem is it's so hard to talk about them in that vein when they lost to Montana. So there's this constant just connecting.
The A- tier, the A- tiers, which I'm going to call them, still fantastic. And we discussed it last week. We said they're going up against the number 1 offense in the FCS. Montana State was no joke all season. We're going to run the ball. We're going to score points. And Idaho came ready, and they came correct, and the Kibbe Dome was electric, and Coach Eck gave it all lined up for them, and they played a hell of a ball game, and so did Montana State. This is a great game. Give me this in the playoffs. Give me whatever I can get with these teams, with South Dakota State, Montana State, Idaho, and you could throw Furman in at 4, which I think is how I have it. Or it's South Dakota State, Idaho, Montana State.
I have Furman at 2.
I noticed that.
I don't even like that. You know what? Everyone was getting mad at me.
I don't like it either. But
it doesn't make any sense. What are you going to do? I don't know what to do. I literally don't know what to do. Like this sounds like helpless and like I'm just being like I'm moaning.
It's hard. It's harder than you think it is if you're asking for a vote. It's hard as hell.
Because the problem is right now is that Furman's undefeated. Here's why I think it makes sense. Like, okay, like I'm obviously joking when I'm saying I don't know what to do. Furman is undefeated in FCS play. That to me is important. Idaho has a really good resume. That's why I put them at number 3. But they do have a significant, they have a loss in FCS play. That has to be acknowledged. Furman also has some decent wins and a really good win over Western Carolina. And if they run the table, they're going to have to beat other good teams in their conference that are currently ranked to place them justifiably at the 2 spot. I think that the argument can absolutely be made. The other thing, Montana State didn't drop them that far because I think they're still good. I think this is just a good team beating another good team.
They're still great, man. They're still a great team. They're so impressive. And Idaho they played. You said on the show, Idaho needs to be perfect, and they basically were. That is
Yeah, no real turnovers or
That's as
big
close as you
MAs.
can get. And and I'll give you credit. You said they have to be as locked in as you can be. They can't make the mistakes, and they didn't. So as we were marveling at South Dakota State, you have to marvel at Idaho and be like, that is a clean football game. That's what they had to do.
That goofy kicker for Montana State ends up missing the game-tying field goal at the end of it. Montana State, this feels like something that is just a disturbing reality and an unsettling one that I think many Montana State fans might not want to come to grips with. Malott and Chambers are a very, very difficult unit to stop. But the problem is that when you've got two really good runners that are both average passers, and you don't have a guy who can step up on third and long, third and medium, you're going to get caught up too. Someone's going to figure it out. We kind of saw it a little bit against South Dakota State, but that's where Idaho won this football game. They did something that has not been capably done for the past 2 seasons. They found a way to push Montana State into these third and long situations. And the passing proficiency just wasn't there. And it kind of goes against what I said. I thought that they had a really good, their passing rhythm was starting to be there, but it's clear that it's just a little bit, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not sitting here saying it's bad. I'm not saying that they've got a poor passing attack, but it's just not up to the level for us to justifiably place them in that unstoppable category.
They can't go either or full speed is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yes.
That's fair. I know Montana State was really good on third down. I don't know how good they were on third and long. And this is going to sound like coach speak. Third downs are very important down. First and third downs are massive. I don't care what your rate is on fourth down. That's a nut up or shut up play, no matter the down or distance. I genuinely do not care about fourth down conversion percentage. If you got a dumb head coach that wants to keep on going for it, he's just going to keep being a dumb head coach. If you're a team that can keep on making them, you're a team that can keep on making them. The most important fourth down conversion is the one that you're about to try to convert, in my opinion. Third down,
dropping my phone.
Valuable. Way to make notice of it.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Just by the way, we've been around so many professionals as interns in classes to trying to learn professionalism.
Yeah.
We have written the book on how to not be a professional.
Yeah.
I would love to one day unpack that.
I've never seen Gresh go, "Oh, welcome to the show. I messed it up. Wait, we're recording? We're live?" I never saw him do that. He knows that when the red light is on, we are on.
Okay, I don't mess up when we go live. I only do it when we're pre-taping.
Still, but the book is
okay. Also, wait. Also, I have been live and recording for 2.5 hours straight with no breaks. I haven't got up from this chair.
I got a cookie in my bag if you want it.
Okay, screw you. What's the longest show that you've hosted? Not edited, produced, hosted. What's the longest one that you've done?
2.5 hours, 2 hours and 45 minutes. A CDS show, bonus show. Yeah, thick ones. Thick daddy shows. Yeah.
Okay. What were we saying?
There you go. I don't know. You dropped your phone. Oh, third down. Yeah, third downs.
Yeah, third down.
You're gonna sit there and you're gonna hear coaches talk about how important they are. That's because they are. It's a crucial down. And as much as we want to avoid, fourth down punting, we hate punting, we hate kicking field goals. Converting third and long is such a boost momentum-wise for your team. It's just a huge, because if you're not on the sidelines in that game, and some fans that have really been around it, I'm not going to discredit them because they know it and they feel what I feel. It's like you got a weighted vest on third and long. If you're watching, if you're in it, and you're just sitting here like, all right, I got this vest on. I just got to get it off. Once I get this vest off, I can run fast. And if you don't make it, the vest stays on. And if you convert it, you take the vest off, you got a 1st and 10, and you're chilling. It's so valuable. Getting a 3rd and 7 to 3rd and 12 completion or great run or scramble. It's great. And Montana State wasn't able to do that very often. So Idaho was able to get that vest off quicker. In
what appears to be, you always successfully, whenever it's been a long day, you come out swinging. You show up when it's been the longest day with your longest fat stats list.
It's
possible.
not my choice. I left off so many players. It was a massive week for fat stats.
Portland State, what the shit?
Yeah.
You don't need to read these. I already know who won.
Joe, you're going to have to focus because a lot of FCS
Joby.
players.
His name's Joby.
They went to the county fair, the FCS players on offense this year.
I almost made a crude comment. Sorry.
They went to the way to be, man. They went to the county fair and they said, here's my shoe, deep fry it. I'm fatter than all fat, and I'm going to be on the fat stats list. I'll eat it. That's what they're saying.
Start reading them. Giddy up. Giddy up.
I mean,
I'm not really in a rush. To a bear on a unicycle. Now I am sitting behind the cage, whipping you. Dance for us.
Problems. Let's kick it off. I had again. If I didn't get your team's player, I know they had a great game. A lot of guys had great games. NC Central quarterback Davius Richard, 18 for 27, 352 yards passing, 5 touchdowns. He had a pick, but he also had 26 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. 7 touchdowns in the game, Joseph.
Damn.
Yeah. Drake running back Dorian Boyland, pretty good name. 29 carries, 190 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Dude, I think.
Damn.
God, I think Penton's quarterback had a good game. He has a great name. I think it might be Aiden. His name might be, off the top of my head, Aiden Sayin.
I think you might be right. This next name's great. This next one's great.
Fordham had a big 3 90s Cowboys game. This guy just had the best. Running back Julius Lowridge, 25 carries, 211 yards, 3 touchdowns. UNH quarterback Max Brosmer, 41 for 60. Damn. 414 yards, 2 touchdowns. 31 rush yards and a touchdown against Rhodey. Too bad, jackass. You're Jaden McKenzie. I'm sorry. It's not him. I'm calling him. Regardless, Jaden McKenzie, 15 carries, 135 yards, and 4 touchdowns, including a game winner with a regrettable Stone Freeman call. I thought he had better.
Wait, was it bad? I didn't see it.
I thought he had a better club in his bag. He fell into a voice that I wish he hadn't fallen into, because I know he's a good broadcaster. He's a good play-by-play. It just felt like a Westwood one.
For the Rams to win it in overtime. They keep it on the ground. Touchdown, Rhode Island. Walk it off, Kingston. Your Rams take down the Wildcats 34-28 in overtime.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like
too much air in there. Yeah. He's got a great voice. It's just too much air in there, right?
Yeah. By the way, I got my Jim Fleming bobblehead. Did you see it?
Oh, yeah. Let me see it. Put it up to the camera. God.
This is the Fat Stats intermission.
Look at that. Look at this idiot.
Meg sent me a broken one, by the way.
Oh, sure.
It came like this. It came broken, so it doesn't really bobble. It just kind of sits on top of it.
Right.
This is the Jim Fleming bobblehead. Wait, let's see if we can get the focus on it.
Hold on. No, it's looking at your stupid bobblehead, idiot. It said, why is there 2 of them on the screen?
Maybe if I do this with my head.
Hold on. Oh, no, that's working. That's working.
There we go.
It's the worst show on the internet.
Doesn't look anything.
You know what? For a FCS bobblehead, not bad. If it was a professional organization, I would have preferred.
I miss those fried pickles at Muse, by the way. The head's broken now.
Why are you screaming now?
I'm not screaming.
Your mic is so loud.
I don't know how to fix this.
Those fried pickles are awesome.
How do you think I get this fixed?
Oh, here! I love Handyman Joe. Give me 2 options right now of how to fix that for you right now. In your
do you think a hammer would work? All right, continue Fat Stats. We're already 10 minutes too long.
I know. Delaware running back Marcus Yarns, 13 carries, 63 yards, 4 touchdowns. He also had 4 catches, 105 yards, and a touchdown receiving. Get fat on him, Mr. Yarns. Monmouth running back Jaden Sheridan, 21 carries, 251 yards, 2 touchdowns. And those are in there because they did it on 5 catches. It's impressive. North Alabama quarterback Noah Walters, 29 for 52, 351 yards, 5 touchdowns passing. He ran for 31 and had a score on the ground as well. 6 total touchdowns, pretty good. Austin Peay quarterback Mike DeLelio, pretty sure, 20 for 25, 353 yards, 6 touchdowns passing. He went crazy on the beat. Charleston Southern wide receiver Will, here we go, Kakavitas. There's 2 S. No, because there's a
Kakavitsas.
yeah.
Kakavitsas.
There we go. 5 catches,
Kakavitsas.
169 yards, 3 touchdowns. So 3 of his 5 catches were
Nice.
touchdowns. Very impressive from the Charleston Southern standout wide receiver. To cap it off, Portland State running back Joby Mallory, 23 carries, 241 yards, 6 touchdowns on the ground.
I'm not even thinking twice. That's insane. That's insane. Give me that. Holy 6.
Yep.
That's an NCAA 14 stat line. That's
and you
insane.
mocked them.
I did.
I'm going with Davius Richard. He had a great game.
Was Joby Mallory the university president in disguise?
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that
Great.
would be funny.
Right.
I had you were too locked in. You missed it. I had to stop myself. I completely zoned out, and I started doing this with with Flem for a couple of minutes, and then I realized how childish and stupid I looked. At Joe DeLeone at Sanderson Radio. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We'll be back.
Yeah, there we go.